Welcome to Every New Day, and this is ENDtv with a special report on the war industry. Every year, the global arms trade exceeds $500 billion. Yet few ask, who really profits from war? Good question. From Gaza's skies to Eastern Europe's borders, a massive machine hums beneath the headlines. It's not just governments, it's corporations, banks, asset managers, even churches. This is the war industry. Today, we pull back the curtain on one of the most lucrative and hidden sectors on Earth. Who profits from conflict, and how deep does the web go? Let's get into the business of war, shall we? In just 4 years, the US Department of Defense awarded $2.4 trillion to private contractors. Of that, $771 billion, nearly a third, went to just five, you heard that right, 5 corporations. Lockheed Martin, RTX, formerly Raytheon, Boeing, General Dynamics, and Northrop Grumman. That dwarfs the $356 billion allocated for diplomacy and humanitarian aid during the same period. These companies aren't just players. They are the US military-industrial complex. And I'm sure you've all heard that before. And they're thriving. Globally, arms manufacturers made $632 billion in 2023. Over half of that came from US firms. War isn't just a business, it's the biggest business. But, as the old adage says, follow the money. Who owns the war industry? From fighter jets to surveillance satellites, the war industry touches every aspect of modern conflict. But who actually owns these companies? Meet the big 3 that you probably haven't heard of: BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. They're not weapons makers, oh no, but they're among the biggest shareholders in nearly all of them. Together, these asset managers control up to 80% of US ETFs, many of which now include defense stocks. That means even passive investors, people who hold retirement accounts or index funds, are often tied to the arms trade without even knowing it. In 2025 alone, over $8.4 billion poured into defense-focused ETFs, aiming to capitalize on record global defense spending, a jump from $2.7 trillion in 2024, up around 9.4% year over year. Bloomberg reports BlackRock's ETF lineup now spans $45 billion in active funds, and IDEF joins their defense roster. This isn't accidental. It's institutionalized militarism. But what about the global connections and the silent backers to this industry? Well, passive investors and bonds. Passive doesn't mean innocent. Vanguard invested over $500 million in Israeli bonds after October the 7th. BlackRock holds major stakes in Lockheed, Boeing, and Palantir. State Street is right there with them. State and local US officials have invested nearly $1.7 billion in Israel bonds since October of 2023, raising ethics questions about public money and war funding. And in June 2025, Pennsylvania's treasurer added another $25 million bringing the state's total to about $64.5 million. That's some chunk of change. According to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, the top 5 arms companies, most US-based, account for more than half of global arms sales. Despite public pressure and UN critiques, passive investors remain largely silent. The war machine runs quietly until we look under the hood. But now let's get into tech warfare and Palantir. Today, war isn't just fought with bullets, it's driven by data. Enter Palantir Technologies, co-founded by none other than Peter Thiel. Palantir builds AI software for military targeting, intelligence, and surveillance. Think of it as a digital command center. And we actually have covered this in a previous video, so if you're interested, check that out. Their Gotham software has reportedly been used by Israeli military in Gaza to identify potential targets. Their reach spans also from CIA operations to ICE deportation systems. This is surveillance capitalism fused with warfare. Let's talk about the dark network as well, and the illicit arms and government backing when it comes to the war industry. Not all weapons flow through legal channels. Illicit dealers like Victor Bout's networks and even social media arms sales fuel ongoing conflicts in Sudan, Yemen, and beyond. Meanwhile, legal defense contractors rely heavily on taxpayer funding, R&D budgets, export licenses, and government contracts. This system breeds revolving door relationships and quiet lobbying. Let's get specific, shall we? In Gaza, components from Boeing, Honeywell, and MBDA were linked to deadly airstrikes. In Sudan, Turkey's Baykar drones escalated violence. And in Yemen, US-made small arms appear on the black market. What about the rising market in Europe? As Europe rearms. Europe is rearming at levels not seen since the Cold War. Well, you could say that it's still going on, that so-called Cold War. But anyway, BlackRock and BNP Paribas have launched new defense ETFs focused on European rearmament. Allianz, UBS, and other financial giants are jumping back into defense. And if you check out our video about the rise of the European military-industrial complex, you'll get a bit more information about what's actually going on right now. Even Germany's 100 billion euro rearmament fund is turning civil tech into weapons production. Engineering firms, airlines, and auto suppliers are pivoting to war-related contracts. But how about faith, ethics, and ultimately hypocrisy? Well, you'd expect religious institutions to oppose war profiteering, but even churches aren't innocent. In Germany, the Catholic Church manages some of the largest pension funds, yet past investigations revealed church-linked banks like Pax Bank invested in defense companies before public backlash forced divestment. The GKKE, or Germany's Protestant and Catholic Church Alliance, has condemned arms exports, yet church-affiliated funds haven't always followed suit. Meanwhile, banks like the KfW and Commerzbank are now openly financing the defense sector, aided by new policy and relaxed ESG definitions. It's a troubling paradox, moral institutions preaching peace while investing in war. But now we get to the crux of this all, the power behind the curtain. Behind every war contract, there's a name. Larry Fink of BlackRock, Peter Thiel of Palantir, Armin Paperger of Rheinmetall. These are the power brokers of modern warfare. They influence more than profits. Through lobbying, media narratives, and campaign funding, they shape policy, and sometimes war itself. Their companies thrive when conflict grows, and their influence ensures the system keeps turning. In closing, the war economy isn't abstract. It's fed by our money, our silence, and our systems. But profiting from war doesn't have to be inevitable. Demand transparency. Push your fund managers. Support arms control legislation. Divest where you can. Because the real question isn't just who profits from war, it's do you? Where does your money sleep at night? In an ETF backing surveillance drones? In a pension fund investing in missiles? Only when the financial web is exposed can it be unraveled. If this video opened your eyes, share it. Ask questions, challenge institutions, and remember, peace isn't just a policy. It's a portfolio choice. This was ENDtv. Subscribe, comment down below, share. We look forward to hear from you. Stay tuned. We have a lot more coming up. Thanks for tuning in.